Hello everybody and welcome into today's video. I want to thank my fellow YouTube content creators that have been with me since the start of my channel about a year and 3 months ago. And I would also like to thank the YouTube subscribers and the YouTube content creators that were inspired by me to start a channel. Thank you so much for your friendship. Thank you so much for your content and for your kindness in this community. So I'd like to start in by welcoming all the new subscribers. I am so excited because I checked my view counts again, just because I find it to be interesting. And sure enough, within 28 days, I'm now back up to 2,452 subscribers. So I couldn't be more happy. Thank you so much for the love and for continuing to share me out. Today's video is going to be the contents of this box and then two other boxes that are off camera. Once again, this was left at my back door. I think it was like 1:15 in the morning. And you might say to yourself, is it really safe to leave things at the back door? Well, at the house that this was left at, yes, because I have multiple addresses and I have a very sophisticated camera system. So things that are left are always there when I get home. As to the contents, I think I had paid the dealer, I want to say it was 100 or 120, and I don't remember exactly, but at any rate, here we are. Let's get into it. Let's take a look. And why I love these sort videos, it kind of shows you, as the camera continues to not focus for me, it shows you the kind of things that I set aside for restorations. And you might say to yourself, why would you keep a container of loose rhinestones from the late 40s in through the 1970s? And I would say this little vial of rhinestones could potentially make you over, $4,000 in repairs. And people would say, are you sure about that? And I would say, I'm 100% sure because I've done it for 30 years. I've done restorations on antiques and vintage collectible jewelry for over 30 years. That's my experience. So, and I guess what I could show you is off camera, I had restored this Miriam Haskell brooch. So this is a Miriam Haskell from probably around the late 1940s. It has that U-shaped Miriam Haskell, which is according to all the experts and all the books, that's one of the earliest Haskell marks. And then look at that. And I did replace two rhinestones on here. You would never be able to tell which two stones I repaired because I found vintage and antique stones. I absolutely will find the right match every single time. Do you realize that contemporary rhinestones, or crystals as they say, if you place an order online to order them, they are not going to look right because the proportions of vintage stones, the foil, the color of the glass, the color of the stones, the cut of the stones. Like if you go to order these now, these are flat-backed rhinestones. If you go to order those now, the color's different, the size is different, the faceting is different, the proportions of the stones are different. So you have to get vintage stones like this to restore a vintage rhinestone pin. It's a must. You have to. Could you get away with new stones if you had to? I suppose you're always going to be able to see what the new stones are, because these also have an oxidation to the foil, wear patterns to the stones. They are old. The proportions are different. You have to trust my judgment with that. So this one was fully restored. And you might say to yourself, what was this worth when I bought it? I bought this for $10, missing two stones. Brought it home, fixed the two stones, and in 15 minutes, I now have a brooch that's worth between $350 and $385. So there you go. That's a moneymaker. Now, let's look at this one. Shriner of New York. You might say to yourself, well, that's just glass and rhinestones. Yeah, and guess what? It's now worth online between $1,500 and $2,200 as a rhinestone brooch. Guess what? If you're missing one of these marquees and you order one new online, it's not going to look the same because look at that little bit of a cloudy yellow hue to a couple of them. Vintage rhinestones do age over time. It is expected. We don't like to see stones that are really dark gray or charcoal gray or very off color, but we expect to see honest coloration and honest wear. Let's go in on the signature on the Shriner of New York. There you go. please look for that mark right there. Take a screenshot of that. Shriner of New York. Shriner of New York has always been in my top 20 of costume jewelry designers. We're not here to talk about costume jewelry today. We are here to talk about the contents of this box. Be on the lookout for vials of vintage rhinestones. They could make you a tremendous amount of money. To be honest with you, I would have been happy paying $50 just for this vial of vintage and older rhinestones. And again, look at the color of some of those. You don't see that color today. I wish I could pour that out for you. Well, let's see if we can open this up and take a quick peek, because a lot of you are probably saying, well, what do they look like? Well, let's see. What do they look like? So look at that. See the cut and the proportion? The way the crown angle of those stones are very, very deep. That's the top of the stone. And the tables are very, very small. If you're not familiar with the cut of stones, if you go over to my diamond cutting video, you'll see my talk about the proportions of specifically diamonds in that video. But they cut all stones very, very similar in proportion and with their faceting and the way that they're done. And I guess on those, the foil back is the most important part as I get every single one back in there. I do want to say a very special thank you again for joining in. Let's see what else we got in here. Now, I know there's opals in this one, and I don't know if this is... Besides being incredibly dirty, I don't know if that's oil or water. So I really kind of don't want to take those out of there right now, because I don't know if I'll have oil all over everything. With my luck, that's oil, and it's going to be all over my hands, all over the other stones. So yeah, that's very interesting to find opals that, I'll tell you, there's going to be some very beautiful ones in there. Maybe later in the video, I will take those out of there and take a closer look. All right. Let's take a look at this. This was my favorite parcel of all of them. Now, mind you, there will be a little static and some of these stones may stick to the top of this container. Let me move this out of the way and slow down. And on the bottom, it is marked diamonds. So these are tiny little diamonds. Let me make sure the static lets all the stones go back in there. Let me move that one off the edge. And yes, I'm very, very, very careful with these stones. Incredibly, incredibly careful so I don't lose a single one of them. Look at those odd-shaped diamonds. Let me grab my little tweezers over here and move some stuff around so you can see in full transparency in the video. Look at the cut of some of these early diamonds. These, oops, I just lost one, but it's in the box. Let me see here. Yep, I see it. I'll grab that at the end of the video, but look at these tiny little mine cut diamonds. I'm not going to push too much because I don't want them to jump around. And you might ask yourself, well, why are those important? Guess what? I can't get these anymore. Even in my contact in India directly, I cannot get these kind of odd-shaped diamonds. I can't get them anymore. This parcel has been together for probably well over 100, maybe even 200 years at this point. Now that little jar could do upwards to, let me cover them again, that could do upwards to several thousands of dollars of restorations. Why I show you that little parcel is, watch this. So in one of my previous videos, and one of the unboxings, I found this ring in the bottom of the box. This is a marriage. I'm not going to talk about the fact that the shank is much newer than the top of it. The top is very early. Silver and these diamonds are incredibly, incredibly unusual because they're all very odd shaped. Mine cut. You'll notice that it's missing two. It's missing one right there, and it's missing one right there. Now, I could sell this ring as is for about $300 to an early diamond collector because, yes, it's very wearable. No, the shank system is not old. No, it's not. Not at all. It's a definite marriage. But what I could say is now that I can use some of these stones that are the appropriate cut and age, look what happens. See, so I waited a little while. I didn't sell this as is. I waited a little while. I'm going to take two of these stones out of here. I'm going to put one there and one on the edge there. And guess what's going to happen? It's going to change the value of that ring from maybe $300 at most, the way it is, to approximately $1,000. I do have early diamond collectors that are willing to spend that much on their early diamonds, and I absolutely love such stones. Look at the glitter and the glitz. And when people say, well, those look like marcasites, I'll say, no, marcasites look like early diamonds. That's what I say. So have a learning moment there and take that all in. Those are all diamonds. There's not a single marcasite in that ring. Absolutely incredible. So that's what I say is like, just wait until you have the right stones to do a restoration. Now I need to find that little diamond that jumped out of there. I think it landed in the box. I know it's in the light box. So even if I don't find it now, I'll find it soon. My jewelry today, an awesome ring. I've shown that before. If you want to see it in other videos, please go back to my other videos. My modernist and very minimalist silver bracelet worth an absolute fortune. The bracelet I made and my everyday diamond, because you do ask, what's on your hands? I see it all the time in the comments, and I don't mind. This is very, very dirty. I need to clean up this container, but this is a lot of faceted gemstones. These are definitely... Let's take a look here and see. I don't want to speak just yet because this one sure looks like it could be glass. Let's leave those out for now. And I guess, we'll pour these out in a little tray. Let me put these here. Let me take a look for color zoning and see if we've got color zoning. And yeah, that definitely looks like smoky quartz. Those are smoky quartz. That's definitely a smoky quartz. It's not glass. This one definitely has color zoning, so that's another natural smoky quartz. And this one, why wouldn't the third one be? But you know what? You gotta go slow. You can't just in proximity say, well, this is smoky quartz because it came with two others that are. But there is color zoning in those, and I could show you that in another video because, again, I only have a certain amount of time in these videos to do the unboxing. That's definitely a smoky quartz for sure. And years ago, we used to call it smoky topaz. That's what every antique dealer called it. Besides a whole bunch of dust, now that I got this poured out, that's some sort of a watch crown. Oh, there's a couple garnets. Let me take a quick peek and see what we've got. I'm not keeping anything out of the video. I'm just taking a close look. It's very hard to see through the camera sometimes. And then people say, are you sure about what you said? And I'll say, well, I am viewing this through the camera. I'm not looking with, my eyes in real life. So yeah, sometimes the color's a little bit off. So sometimes I watch back and go, oh, I think I may have made a mistake. But nobody is perfect in this. This is that amazing, amazing druzy on the inside of that. I would love to turn that into either a pendant or a ring. Look at the movement in that agate stone. Really incredible. Absolutely love it. Let's see here, some loose beads. These are a lot of little garnets, some little gold parts. See, I've always told you that in these box lots, there's always little pieces of gold floating around, because where else would the jeweler put it? With the stones that he's using or she's using to restore things through the years, of course there's going to be little gold pieces. One time, a long time ago, I went to an auction, and people thought I had lost my mind. I bought a cigar box filled with basically just dust, dirt, and garbage. And I saw some little findings in the bottom. Do you know that for that box that I paid $15 for, do you know that I sold the contents for $632? $632 just in little gold bits. And every other antique dealer that was like the know-it-all expert, they were like, I think he's completely lost his mind. And I said, I might be young, but I'm not stupid. So, while others don't see value in some things, I saw things differently. That's all. Not right, not wrong, just different. More amazing stones. A lot of very small pearls in this. Very, very small pearls. Ooh, there's a really great opal. That's a beautiful little cabochon opal, aquamarine there, probably an amethyst, created ruby. You can kind of tell already it's created. That's definitely a created ruby. And some people will say, well, don't you call that pink sapphire now? And I go, I don't. I still call it a ruby. So, and I don't fight with people. They know. They're just like, we will not correct Jason. So, we don't want the fight. Let's see here. Emerald. There's emerald there. And I guess, technically, are they are they pink sapphire? Yes, because rubies are technically supposed to be red. So who wants the lecture series? Nobody, nobody ever. Opals, another opal. That's a genuine opal. Really beautiful flash in that one. I mean, look at that stone. So these are the perfect size for restoration in a lot of the earlier gold rings. So that's a fantastic little container. Awfully dirty, yet again. But, when you're on your bench and you've got your flux and your torch and all of your supplies, see, look, I said that's going to get stuck on the top of these sometimes. And then you just got to tap it so it goes back down. Well, it doesn't want to, so I'm not going to force it. These are emerald. And very poor quality emeralds. So those are probably, I probably would never use them, but I'll set them aside. Maybe I'll use them eventually. Let's see here, standard nickel metal. So this is 99.95 nickel. So these are little nickel, I guess pallions, or who knows, maybe that's polishing shot. I'm not sure exactly what this person was using these for. Or maybe that was nickel to then be alloyed with other metals. So you take out a couple little pieces of that, put it in your crucible, and that would then be your alloy for some metals. That's probably what that is for. Here's a ring sizer. I do keep all my vintage ones just because you always need a ring sizer. Yes, that goes from full size down to half size, and the sizes on these are always listed on this edge right here. And that is in American numbers: 10, 10 and a half, 9, 9 and a half, 8, 8 and a half, all the way through. So all the half sizes are there. Very cool that that's here so that I don't have to go out and buy another one. I think I probably have over 30 of these now. So, but at least I always have one handy. The old watch, the old clock key. I'm sorry, that's not a watch key, that's a clock key. And then don't think there's anything. Oh, this is probably stones. Let me look at this off camera and see if, oh, wow. Okay, I didn't know these were in here. Let me do this so they don't jump all over. Oh, wow. So those appear to be, look at how little those are. Oh my. That is probably even half a millimeter. Let me see if these are natural. Yeah, these would have to be. Let me get my loop out and take a quick look. Unbelievable that these are here. Yep, these are little half pearls, and oh, they're natural. Look how small. They look like grains of sand, and those are actual pearls. Look at that. And there are actual grains of sand in there, and look at how little the pearls are. I mean, I don't know if you understand how tiny those are. I didn't know these were in here. And these are the perfect, oh, wow. These are the perfect little pearls for all of those antique brooches with the little Victorian sparrows. I'm kind of coaxing them together so I don't lose any. Those are just incredible. There you go. Someone else would have thrown that away as like sand, grains of sand. That does another several $1,000s in restorations to anyone who needs a half millimeter, half pearl. Has anyone even heard of that? Probably not, more than likely. Even all the, all the people that do restorations. Now I got it all folded back up. Oh, there's the little diamond. So there's the little getaway diamond right there. I'll just leave it there, but that's the little getaway diamond. So in the bottom of the boxes, let that be a note to self. Don't throw away things that look like garbage, because they may not be. Don't be so quick to like, ew, gross, I'm going to throw that away. You just threw away a diamond. You threw away a diamond that could have done a restoration and made you like, several $100s. Don't know what's in this, but worried that it's going to open. Maybe it's empty. Nope. All filled with stones and stuck on this. Don't know why it's stuck on these rhinestones, but it is. More loose gemstones. Lots of really beautiful pearls. Here we go. Wow, it's all I say. Here, I guess I could just pour this out and let you look. Because you're all going to say, what was in that one blue box that you wouldn't show us? I'm not hiding anything. Nope, not in the market to hide anything. And I've often said that, like, when people say, well, why didn't you do this and why didn't you do that? Well, if you have great ideas, start a channel. I've often said it. Join us. Like a lot of people already have. I say, if you have better ideas, or different ideas, start a channel, start to create content. I encourage it. This is probably an aquamarine since the cut of the stone, and I see a little bit of that green in there that is not a topaz color. So that could be aquamarine. These could be blue zircon, blue topaz. Amethyst more than likely, pale citrine, maybe a garnet on this one, probably a synthetic. I'm not liking some of that flash, and there could be a garnet though. Dark enough to be a garnet. I've encountered those both garnet and glass. This is definitely some sort of aquamarine. Very, very pale color, and that radiant cut is almost a telltale sign of an aqua. And yeah, you can have blue topaz radiant cut. I don't need the lecture series there, that's for sure. Not a diamond. The metal is too flimsy. That's 14 karat gold though. And then a whole bunch of clear stones that I'm not exactly sure what they are. And why I keep these pearls are half drilled pearls are getting really hard to find, the older ones. All in different sizes, probably from like randomly a 3 to a 3.5 millimeter to about a 7.5 millimeter. And that's the range on those. I'm really kind of liking a couple of these things. That one is flashing at me. I'm going to have to do a little bit more research on those. Obviously put them right back in the box where they came from. And I always do these things over a box and then, catch the loose ones in the tray like the magician that I am. And then just pour them back in here. And I think in this one, let me do that right side up. I think in this one, this is where there was an opal. Look at how that used to have so much water in it. And let's do this. Oh, nope. Maybe we won't get this open. Why? Oh, there we go. I was like, why won't that open? Because it was all limed shut. Didn't look at this. Yeah, let's get that wet. Let's wet this. Let's put this down in this little container of water. And I'm glad that I had this little jar here because, here, let me turn my water on and fill this up a little bit. There we go. And there we go. Now let's do this. Oh, now my water's going to leak. Now you're going to hear dripping water. Better than a ticking clock. I don't know. Just can't stand the ticking clocks sometimes. So that does have some crazing in there. By no means an opal expert, so all this would have to be removed and polished down. It sure does have some really nice flash in there, loaded with crazing and cracks. So maybe, stored incorrectly and really dried out. Once those opals get those internal fissures and cracks and hairlines, it's impossible to get them out of there. Other people say, put them in oil and do this and put them in water and they'll rehydrate. No, fat chance. And nothing against fat chances, but really not probably going to happen. Yeah, we'll let that. I'm gonna put some water back in here, and we'll see if we can get some color feedback on that to see if it's worth getting into having it faceted. Some more loose pieces. Oh, look at that thing. That's butterfly wing and a little blue topaz. So a tiny little blue topaz teardrop, and that's butterfly wing under crystal. So yeah, quite the good box so far. So hopefully that helps answer, what is this one? Answer the question on restoration, and what I do and how I do things differently. So I see what's going on here. They thought that dragon's breath used to be opal. And that's a lot of times back in the times when people weren't familiar with glass and synthetics, they would think that that was opal. They would say, well, that's an opal. No, that's dragon's breath glass. That's not an opal. And that's a pretty one. Very pale sherbet color with that electric blue flash. Encasing, metal in the recipe of glass. Very cool. I've collected Dragon's Breath 32 years, who's counting. And then these are just very now kind of ultra dried out opals, but not a lot of color, not a lot of flash, a little bit here and there. Very white, very pale, not something I would seek out. But that's great. So here's the thing. Natural opal, and I would pick this one. See, everyone else would be like, ooh, I want the natural opals. I'd say, no, I like this one. So just glass, but very collectible. Probably on that one from the 1900s, for sure. These, like I said, I don't know if these really could even be really polished that much more. And I'm looking outside of the light box. Let me look without the direct light on. And now we've got some blue and blue and yellow green, and kind of a peachy in this one. So yeah, those might be, put them in some water and see if I can have someone recut and polish those down. Let me pause the video, get all this stuff back into the box, and I'll show you the other two boxes real quick. Oh, and then two other things that why I say about the diamonds restoration. I always have a heck of a time trying to find diamonds. And this is that huge lapis ring with the calibrate cut sapphires. That's like 9 carats of diamonds. And look how many diamonds, if I have any fall out, I would need those old diamonds to restore this. I can't just go to a jeweler's nowadays and go give this to a contemporary jeweler and say, hey, can you color match this really off-color diamond that looks steely gray? And they'd look at me like, we can't source that stone. And then I'd say, well, I can because I have this little parcel and about 30 others that I've collected over the years. And then this came in, and I don't want to comment much about this ring right now, but it had 2 missing stones. And I brought it home and I restored it. So now that's restored and absolutely magnificent, worth a very pretty penny. I will pause. I'll be right back.